conference, and what a conference it was. I'm going to introduce our world premiere panelists here. First of all, we have the exclusive Jay Hobbs.
Yo, what's up, everybody?
Hello, hello. How are you doing? What did you think?
I mean, within 5 minutes, it had already beaten EA, so it was. I actually enjoyed quite a bit of that
Yeah,
conference.
I agree. I agree with you. And we also have the Windows 10 Bonesaw with us today.
Oh, God. Hi, everybody.
How's it going?
Pop figures suck balls.
Oh,
Don't
thank
buy
you. God, I'm so glad we're in agreement on that.
them.
All right. Well, we will get to that and a lot more here. I am your host, Golden. I actually, we have one more person with us today.
Ladies and gentlemen, the head of Xbox, Phil Spencer.
Phil
My boy
Spencer.
Phil.
Our boy Phil. That's right. He's here to recap everything with us. We have a lot to talk about. This conference, unlike EA yesterday, really, I mean, it just, the momentum was there the entire time, and it just felt like it was games, games, games. First of all, before we get into the specifics, I mean, just generally about this presentation, do you like this style of E3 conference where it's kind of, rapid fire trailers, or, what are your thoughts on just generally how they presented?
Way better. Way better. I mean, plus on top of that, when you look at the full schedule, they're doing more like deep dive segments on individual games right now. Like they started them right after the main conference. So, or they are in like 8 minutes or something. So that's just a way better way to do it. Like a lot of the times for the main conference, I just want to like see a little taste of stuff, and try to dissect some things on my own. And I love that they showed 50 games. Like that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, they made this a point here. They said 50 games, 18 exclusives, 15 world premieres.
World premiere.
And yeah, so we'll be sure to kind of go through those as well. But yeah, they really emphasized this year. I mean, they didn't really have a hardware piece to show this time around, so there wasn't a lot of time spent on anything like that. Going through, I know last year they spent a lot of time talking about the specifics of the Xbox One X, and we didn't really have anything like that this year. So we really just it was focused on the games. And I mean, right off the bat, I guess we can go ahead and get into it here. I think this is a game that people are excited about generally. There, not a lot of information, but the trailer nonetheless. We saw that the opener, Halo Infinite. So Microsoft coming out guns blazing right away. Definitely got a reaction from the crowd too, and I believe Phil walks out to that. He's probably going to be received pretty well.
Yeah. So is that Halo 6 or is that like a spin-off game or something? I wasn't really clear on that, which I think maybe they were very clearly not showing a lot about Halo, but did anybody else kind of gather?
I mean, I'm not sure. It definitely, I mean, they had that thing about it being on the new engine, didn't they? Like Slip Space or whatever. So I kind of thought that it was going to be a spin-off game. And then I saw Master Chief, and then I was like, okay, now I'm kind of confused. I'm not really sure if it's going to be Halo 6 or if it's going to be a brand new thing. So I'm kind of in the same boat as you are. I have no idea.
Yeah, from everything that I've gathered, it is going to be a direct sequel. So we're looking at Halo 6. It's just every now and then you can get thrown off because of the naming conventions of some of the games. So like Reach, for instance, I don't think you would consider a numbered Halo game, but it's still part of that same storyline. Being the prequel. So, yeah, I mean, I think this was a good opener for them. I think just having anything Halo, obviously, it's going to get the crowd excited. Don't need to know a lot yet. It's probably very early on. So, just the promise that it's there, too.
And then they went from that to, like, the first wide shot of the whole room and everything. And it was just so funny seeing how huge that place was and how, like, big of set design they had and everything, just like that they always have. But compared to like the high school cafeteria that was EA, right? Like, EA had like 200 people in the crowd maybe, and they had so many there for Microsoft. It was just so funny.
Packed. Absolutely packed.
Now, did you get a sense that we were getting a little bit of the usual Microsoft fake crowd kind of thing going on?
Yeah.
There's everybody seemed to be wearing the same shirt. They're all kind of getting into it. It seemed a little like planted to me.
Yeah,
I'm
the
sure
front
there-
row people, definitely.
Yeah, I'm sure there was some, but on top of that, like there were some periods of like silence during spots where there were clearly supposed to be applause, which we'll get into when we get to those games and stuff. So maybe not like a ton of planted stuff, but they certainly were trying to find the biggest fans and put them in the front.
Yeah,
I-
if anything, it was maybe just the fans too. Maybe they had invited
Right.
to the front
Yeah.
rows and things like that.
Well, 'cause
Regardless,
they did say there was some event, right? They said like, oh, and welcome
Fan
all
fest.
the people from
Yeah, Fan Fest. That's right.
yeah.
I will say this too. I felt like the reactions were authentic.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
whether
definitely.
or not they were planted, it actually it felt like when a new game that people were excited about showed up on the screen. I mean, you felt that response. So let's go ahead and talk about some of these games though. So right off the bat, one that I know J Hobbs is pretty stoked to talk about. We see Ori and the Will of the Wisps 2019.
Yeah.
We get this trailer right off the bat. And what did you think?
That was awesome. I mean, I could sit here and talk for like an hour. Honestly, I'm really excited for after this when I'm going to go dive into the trailer again and like go frame by frame and look at everything. But we knew from the very last thing they showed last E3 at the Microsoft conference, we knew that Ori 2 existed. It was the very last thing they showed, was just a very kind of teaser trailer just saying like Ori Will of the Wisps. And so getting to see a lot of gameplay in this one was great. Like Ori is beautiful. Anybody who hasn't played it, please go play it because it's just a fantastic game. And it's on Steam. It's like $20 or something. And so like they did do some cinematic stuff because that game really well ties gameplay into cinematic, like really, it's very nicely done. But I like that they didn't really just lean too heavily on cinematic stuff. They actually showed a fair amount of mechanics that are completely new to the game. There was a light sword thing. There was a bow, maybe ice physics based on some stuff in one of the cinematics, maybe some flying thing. There was like a drill. It was really cool just as somebody who's a big fan of the game, not seeing all of the classic abilities from the first game that I do love. And I hope some are back, but that they didn't just lean on that. They were like, no, here's a bunch of awesome new shit. And it certainly seems like they're taking the game in a more combat-oriented direction, which is pretty different from the first game. So it's really cool that they're kind of trying new things. And I loved it. I just, like I said, I'm going to go be watching that again. I was actually hanging out with some Ori people in a chat, and so we were all just freaking out that it was the very first thing they showed other than the Halo teaser. So really glad they gave them a big spot.
We'll try not to make the recap go so long so you can go and actually check it out. I know that's like the number one thing on your mind right now.
And they're doing a deep dive later too, so that should be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Bonesaw, what did you think of Ori?
Well, like judging by the first game, I haven't actually played the entire thing, but I have played a bit of it, and I've seen it at GDQs and such. Again, the art is it's absolutely mind-blowing, fantastic, beautiful. The environments are just crazy. The music, judging by that trailer, is probably going to be fantastic, just like the first game. It looks great. It sounds great, and I've seen enough speedruns of Ori that just like J Hobbs was saying, I noticed like the new kind of powers that Ori has and the new ways of movement and stuff like that. It definitely looks like they are taking the initiative to kind of jump out of that first game and kind of get into the second one by giving Ori some new optimizations, new ways to kind of play and move around. And I think I'm not a very big Ori person, but it definitely looks and it sounds fantastic. I think it's going to be great for sure.
So it intrigues you though. That's good.
Yeah.
I'm just so glad they started with it. I thought for sure it'd be the very end again, and they were like, no, we're going to give it pretty early billing.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised, but I mean, I think the atmosphere of it, kind of shines through in the trailer too, which is part of the reason that maybe it was bumped up so early. That Phil was giving that whole speech about our worlds are fantastic and imaginative and all this stuff, and I think Ori really exemplifies that. So
yeah, I'm a little annoyed the crowd response wasn't like amazing for it, but I have a feeling part of that is that they had just come off the Halo teaser, and then they go into something that opened up with a similar color scheme. Like the very first shot of the Ori trailer was a similar color scheme to what the Halo teaser was. So I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people were like expecting Halo and then it wasn't. But the chat reaction was great to it. So clearly a lot of people liked it.
All right. So then we moved into a world premiere.
World premiere.
Gotta make sure I get that. I carefully noted what we got here for
15
world
of them, dude.
That's right. Get ready. So we had From Software, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, and this just looked extremely polished to me. And kind of taking the traditional From Software game and everything you know about it and taking it to another level. We saw some action platforming. I think there was a point where there was like a hook shot being used at one point to jump on top to a roof. The action just looked really, really slick. What did you guys think of this game? Did you see anything that stood out to you?
I'm not gonna lie, I was still freaking out over Ori. So I basically saw nothing of that game. Like I was just constantly spamming like a Discord chat. So I barely saw anything of it. I didn't even know it was From Software. So that's pretty cool, I guess, that there was a From Software game. But other than that, I can't give any thoughts on it.
Yeah, I got to say, I was really confused when it popped up and it said From Software because I was trying to process in my head like what series are we going with here? And then instead we've got this entirely new take. So I think just visually it looks like the most refined game that they've done so far. And I'm really curious to see kind of how the weapon play comes into play there. It just looked really polished and gave us something, a little bit of a tease there. Kind of a feudal setting as well, which I think is a little different from some of their other games. And 2019 was given... a lot of these games too, we're getting not exact release dates, but at least we're getting the confirmation that, hey, we plan to release this in the coming year, which I thought was at least better than giving nothing. So we moved on from there, and Todd Howard takes the stage. I legitimately thought, okay, maybe I'm a fool, but there were so many monitors on the stage, and Fallout 76 comes out. I thought we were going to have 76 people on stage on Fallout 76, and I was sorely mistaken.
I don't think there were quite that many monitors.
I was convinced it was going to be used for some sort of multiplayer gimmick.
For
any game. They had so many monitors on the stage. I was just convinced.
There were so many, but nobody used them. I think the most monitors they used were for what? Forza Horizon?
Yeah. I think Forza was the only game with a live demo, right?
And even that I wasn't sure about if that was live or not. It did look like it might have been.
Yeah, it looked a little too cinematic, right?
Yeah,
it did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. We can get to that when we get there.
Yeah, we'll get there when we get there. But we do have... So Todd Howard comes out, says that, Fallout 4 is launching on the Xbox Game Pass today. And then he shows the world premiere look at Fallout 76, which I imagine we're going to see another look, although possibly the same look at the Bethesda conference tonight. But he mentions it's a prequel to all the other games, and it's 4 times the size of Fallout 4, which I know they, for some reason, with these games, it's all about the size of the world to really like win you over. It's kind of like the PlayStation 1 era when it was the hours of gameplay for your RPG. Like on the back of the box, it'd say 40 hours of gameplay, and you're like, that's it, I'm sold. For Fallout games, it's the size of the map. So
I think it's either the size of the map or it's your choice determines everything. That's pretty much
Battle Royale.
The three buzzwords of the entire thing right now.
All right, so we got a little bit of a glimpse of Fallout 76. Did you guys have any impressions there?
I think it looks fantastic, but
for me, it was kind of whatever. I don't know, but yeah, Boneset, what did you see that you like?
Well, I've been a big fan of like all the Fallout games. I didn't really play 4 as much, only because I found that there was just so much in that game that I just wasn't doing, like customizing your own weapons and you're building your own towns and stuff like that. I don't know. I found that there was just a lot of stuff that I just didn't use. I found that Fallout 3 was probably the best one, but Fallout 76, it gives me that kind of Fallout 4 vibe So it like begs the question: do you really want to risk the $80 to buy Fallout 76 after you've played 4 and it's a little bit more disappointing? You know, like graphically, it looks the same. It's way bigger. I mean, they promised that it was going to be like way bigger than Fallout 4, which was pretty big. So, I mean,
can assure you that plays as well as it looks.
That plays as well as it looks. But
Yes.
I mean, I don't know. The trailer looks great. It looks amazing. I don't know if I'm willing to drop like that full game price on it right away though, after I played Fallout 4.
I think what we'll do here with this one is maybe give it a hold and see if we get any additional info during the Bethesda conference too, because some of these crossovers, it's almost like you have more that you want to show at your own conference.
Yeah.
Like I almost kind of hope they were holding out.
Yeah,
right?
me
Because
too.
I was looking at it going like, why is Bethesda doing this shit here and not in their own conference? Which is one of the feelings I got during the EA one also a little bit. And so it was a little weird. You kind of hope that, or you at least kind of figure that they are saving the best bits for their own, which when we get to KH3, we'll talk about that more too. 'Cause, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll leave it at that and see what happens. Sometimes it's even just a duplicate of the same trailer too. So who knows? But it could just be a scheduling thing too. Like maybe they didn't want to reveal everything because Microsoft conference came first. So then let's see. We have a couple of other games that they showed off in kind of rapid succession. So we saw this game called The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit, which is apparently going to be 100% free.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that trailer for me looked a little like way too on the nose, saying exactly what the story is going to be about, to the point where it almost felt like it was a little like crappily written or something. I'm sure it's not crappy, but then when it said like 100% free, I was like, okay, that kind of makes more sense a little bit. Like maybe it's just not the strongest game or something, or the strongest story, because it looks like it's very obviously a story driven game. And I've never played Life is Strange, but a lot of people love it, I think, right?
Yeah, I think it's got a pretty solid reception.
Yeah, I think it's pretty popular.
So we'll see what they do with that one as well. And then we get Crackdown 3 and all the Terry Crews you could possibly
Dude, I'm wearing a Redskins shirt right now. He used to play for him. Like Terry Crews. I love him, man. That was so campy and over the top, and I didn't care. Like the game looked not all that great, but it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Are we of the consensus that like more Terry Crews, the better? Because I kind of feel that same way. It's like, at first I was thinking to myself, like, are people going to react to this and be negative about it because it's like Terry Crews' game? But the more I hear him in that role, the more I love it.
Yeah.
I think it would be great. At first, I just thought it was an ordinary Old Spice commercial, but I mean, it actually looks like. Oh my god! But like the only thing that I could think of was like Old Spice commercials, or the fact that maybe it was a game where you could customize the way that your character looks, and I was like, man, I just want it to be a game about Terry Crews
Right.
blowing shit up, and not about like not the real Terry Crews making his character look like Terry Crews.
Well, and to be fair, it does look like it's basically a game about blowing shit up as Terry Crews, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's-
pretty
it
much. Oh, God.
It doesn't necessarily look like the best game. I don't know. Like I didn't see anything that really drew like there's a game. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm gonna look in my Steam library real quick to see because I can't remember the name of the game at the moment. Even though I've done a speed run of it before. But there's a game, Bulletstorm, that's it. Bulletstorm, it reminded me of that game, which if anybody's familiar with that, it's kind of like it's got some cool stuff in it, but there's nothing that special about it. And that's what that Crackdown 3 trailer looked like to me.
Now,
But
It's just like,
more Terry Crews, the better, man.
yeah, it's just like super fast paced, really violent, lots of explosions, pretty much that kind of a game, really gritty.
yeah, we saw a tease of this last year, and this is a little bit more in depth this time around. And I know this is a game that has a big following, particularly among console gamers too. They're pretty excited for Crackdown 3. I think it just maybe is one of those games that the three of us aren't in on as much.
Maybe.
But yeah, from what I saw, I mean, this is kind of traditional Crackdown stuff here, where it's just kind of over the top. He's got a gun that's got a rubber duck on it, and it's exploding. And, he turns into a tank. Yeah, so I think from what I saw, it looks like that kind of frenetic action and violence. So,
and I love games that like want to have ridiculous weapons, like, and new ridiculous ways to dispatch your enemies and stuff. Like I think that's really cool. It's just that I think sometimes so many games that do that just have nothing else to their game, and it ends up being like, okay, it's kind of fun for a few hours or whatever. That's why I brought up Bulletstorm. Like, that's kind of how that game was to me.
All I have to say is one more comment on that whole thing. That's all I got. Shout outs to Terry Crews.
The number of bleeps in this E3 conference.
Yeah. There were quite a few in that one, for sure.
All right, so then we moved on. We had some other games that we've seen before. Nier Automata making its way over with the DLC to Xbox One X. And that's actually a couple of weeks from now, at the end of June here.
Got like as much time as it deserved, I figured, for something that looks like it's just a little polished DLC edition or something.
Yeah, just kind of adding to the library, I think.
Yeah.
And then we had a kind of extended look at Metro Exodus. I think this was if I'm not mistaken, this was shown last year as well.
Yeah. That's what I thought of that too.
And yeah, we went really in depth, and my take on this trailer was that there was a lot of reloading of various guns. I don't know why that was considered like the highlight worthy thing, but there was a solid 20 seconds in the middle where we're just reloading various guns. I don't know. Overall, I thought the aesthetic of Metro is very, very cool. I was intrigued by this trailer. Did you guys have any takes on this one?
I just think that it's kind of interesting in the way that like Fallout is kind of interesting. You get like these American locations that are like devastated by nuclear war or like viruses or, some other kind of post-apocalyptic event. I think it's really interesting to see other like studios' takes on what would happen if like we had this story that took place in like a post-apocalyptic nuclear Russia. So it's pretty much like a Russian Fallout kind of thing. Graphically impressive as hell. I really like the look of it. It looks fantastic. I think what I saw there, like in terms of that reloading, was that there was a little bit of weapon customization, maybe.
Yeah, I think there was emphasis on that. They kind of there was one scene where he's holding the gun out and you can see the whole thing, and it's slowly getting
it dismantles and then he puts stuff onto it, and there looks like there's like a lot of things that you can just interact with in the environment. I think that's fantastic. Like, I mean, it's not like you only get the one thing where it's like, oh, well, this year we have you jumping out of a window, being able to smash through a window. This one is like, you can like wipe the mud off of your like visors and stuff, which is really cool. And like, there's a whole bunch of zip lines and different things that you can do. I think it looks fantastic.
I'll definitely say a big theme of this year seemed, out of the two conferences we've had so far, seems to be that a lot of developers have realized that technology's improved enough to where we can make snow look good. And so a lot of them tend to really prefer the snow or just weather in general in their games. And I'm all for that. It's a nice aesthetic that we don't get to see a lot until, kind of the more recent years.
Yeah, weather was definitely a big thing, wasn't it? Like, almost all the games had something to do with weather. Like Sims, Forza, all had things to do with weather.
Yeah, PUBG tried.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a minute or two.
But the thing about I'm sorry, the only other thing about Metro for me, other than the points Bonesaw brought up, was that for me the like clicking in the music during the trailer was super distracting to me the whole time. Like it felt really out of place, and it was like a little too loud or something. I don't know. So I was kind of distracted by that the whole time watching it, and didn't get like the best impression of it because of that, even though I'm sure that was just somebody who was putting the trailer together.
Yeah, I don't know. My general take on the Metro trailer was that I'm intrigued more than I was before. Like, I want to actually dig into this game and find out more about it now. I think that trailer accomplished what it set out to do for me. They did say too it's coming out February 22nd of next year. And then we actually learned this overnight, but the next game, Kingdom Hearts 3, January 29th release date, so pushed back a little bit longer.
2021, dude. I've been saying since they first announced that KH3 was going to happen, I said until that game is in stores, I am not expecting it to come out until 2021. So I'm going to keep with that trend. We got our first delay of 17. It's going to be great.
So are we okay with this delay? I mean, it's a 1 to 2 month delay. It's, you know, it sounds like it's mostly a polish thing more than anything. You know, we're at this point, how many more delays can really drive a Kingdom Hearts fan insane?
Well, they also did. Here's the thing. We've been waiting for like 12 years at this point already for Kingdom Hearts 3. Like delaying it another year or a few months or whatever is not really going to matter. I don't even think they should have announced the year back during last E3 or whenever it was where they announced 2018, because it felt like then we hadn't seen enough to really warrant having a year yet. And to me, delays are like always anything that's gonna prevent developers from working 90 hours a week, crunch time to shove their game into the release date is good. And another point that got brought up a little bit last night by some people is that they did an early like play test with some popular YouTubers and speedrunners and stuff actually too. And they were all, encouraged to give feedback. So I wonder if the extra few months were maybe they looked at that feedback and they actually took some of it to heart. Now, I don't really know how much of that is true, but we did get a lot of patches on the Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 plus 2.5 collection on PS4, specifically after Dean, who is another speedrunner and big streamer and stuff. He happened to run into some Square guys at like a PAX or something and specifically said, hey, do you guys know about all these bugs or all these like inconsistencies? Because they really suck for us. And they were like, whoa, we didn't know. And then they ended up patching that stuff. So it is possible that they are actually taking some of the feedback to heart. And so that's why I thought the delay was not a problem at all. Which has nothing to do with what was happening in the E3 conference.
Yeah, let's talk about. Yeah, that's all right. We'll talk about what we saw here. So actually, we did see quite a bit of Kingdom Hearts 3 here. We saw, of course, the emphasis on Frozen this time around, and it's sort of like the story of Elsa accepting the light or the darkness. We saw Goofy curling, which I mean that's right up my alley. Now I need to play. I had to bring up curling when I saw curling. That was it. God. And let's see, we saw just like little cameos, Wreck-It Ralph and Hercules and Toy Story. What specifically in this trailer caught your eye?
So I want to hear your guys' thoughts first, because as the Kingdom Hearts guy or whatever here, which actually I guess Bonesaw is too, kind of, right?
Yeah, Bonesaw, what do you think of this?
But what did you guys think?
I think honestly, the implementation of all the Disney characters, both the older Disney characters and the newer Disney characters, is so I don't know. It's just so spot on. Like everything is so perfect about it's honestly like combining anime and Disney together into one. It's so good. I don't know. All of the Frozen stuff was perfect from what I saw. I love the Toy Story stuff so much, only because Toy Story is my absolute favorite Disney movie of all time. I love Toy Story. All of the Monsters Inc. There was a little bit of Monsters Inc. in there. I wanted to see a little bit more of that because that looks amazing. The only thing that I didn't really like is the fact that Sora actually sounds like a grown man now. I don't know how old he's supposed to be, but he actually sounds like a grown adult now, which I don't know maybe that's what they're going for. I'm not sure.
That's funny because I actually thought that it sounded like he was trying to make his voice almost higher pitched than in KH2. So that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he is a grown man now, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So
I mean, it's been what 15 years since the last one, so might as well.
I do want to hear Golden's thoughts on it too first, because my points or my feelings are pretty different from both, so this will be fun.
Interesting. Okay, well, I'm coming from the outside here on this one because I actually haven't played a Kingdom Hearts game yet, but just general impressions. For me, this made me want to get into the series because I felt like this, to me, the polish level, especially in the dialogue that we were seeing, and sort of the storyline of, Elsa especially seems to be a focus point in this trailer, and I just felt like I wanted to know more. And the gameplay too. I mean, just the kind of the combat in general of Kingdom Hearts. We got to see a little bit more of a 3 style of it and some of the special moves you can do, and it looks visually satisfying. So I don't know. I was overall really impressed with what I saw. Of course, we won't get our hands on it until 2021 or something. But I don't know. My takeaway was just generally very impressed and satisfied to see what we did.
That's cool. I mean,
oh no.
All right, now knock it down. Here we go.
I liked some things about it. So I've actually I was watching most of the trailers for a while that were coming out for Kingdom Hearts 3 over time and stuff, and then I kind of just stopped because I was getting a little like I was not very fond of a lot of the combat stuff that was happening after the first trailer. I liked a lot of what I saw in the first one, and then after that, it looked like it was moving a lot into some of the stuff we got in Birth by Sleep, which I was not wild about. So I kind of had to like fall into the wayside a little bit when it came to watching all the KH3 stuff. So I was really glad when I looked at this one that they brought it back to like Disney worlds, because they'd also spent a lot of trailers. They had done some that were very Disney focused, but others that were just like all about the story of the Keyblade War and all that shit, which is going to be the big story. But I do not care about that. It's like Kingdom Hearts has a famously convoluted story. So I like when they go back to the simple Disney stuff. That being said, the thing that worried me as soon as like the Frozen thing started, is that I remember that there used to be an interview with, I think it was with Nomura, who said that he would love to do a sing-along world in KH3 with Frozen. And that was an interview like way back, like right when it first got announced.
Are you telling me that if they make a sing-along world, you're not going to be happy?
Dude, like, because they did one in Kingdom Hearts 2 with Atlantica, and so like I'm just looking at it and like, oh god, Frozen's showing up. It's going to be a sing-along world. And then I did have those concerns a little alleviated when they showed some actual gameplay in the world, right? So that was kind of nice.
Don't you want to build a snowman, J-Hobbs?
And I do think Bonesaw is correct in that they are like pretty spot on with all the Disney like integrations into it and stuff. Like Wreck-It Ralph, they were showing some pixelated stuff, which was cool. I've never even seen Wreck-It Ralph, but like just seeing, knowing how Wreck-It Ralph is supposed to be kind of a celebration of a lot of the older retro stuff too, and seeing that being done as a retro style in the game was neat. And we saw a Simba summon, or what looked like a Simba summon in it, which I thought was super cool. I'm glad to see like summons are sticking around and stuff. I didn't know if that had been announced before or not. Gummy missions, I think that had already been confirmed, but I'm not sure. And I'm just whatever on gummy missions.
Yeah,
like I hope they're skippable. They probably won't be. But I don't know. Overall, it was okay. The dialogue seemed pretty decent, but the voice acting seemed a little off in some spots.
Yeah.
And they didn't have sound effects in a lot of the sections. And so I think what really happened is either it was temp, like I think some of it might have been like temp voice work or something, or not polished yet, or they specifically they tend to hype up the story in their trailers for Kingdom Hearts 3, and so like I wonder if they specifically did the mix to like pump up the voices and lower everything else.
Or they were going for that hot new Hikaru Utada song that was playing in the background.
Yeah, that was a new reveal, right?
Yeah,
Everyone, we knew she was making another one, but we didn't know what it was. And I was like, whatever. I don't know how much of it we really got out of that.
Yeah, it was I found that was kind of weird too, because I was just like you in that I was focusing on the trailer, and I was trying really hard to like listen for the sound effects and stuff, or listen to the voice acting a little bit more. And then I found that there was like none of it in certain parts, or they just didn't have anything, and then it was just the song, or it would go from a clip that had actual like sound effects and voice acting and stuff, and then it would move to another one that just had no sound at all.
And they just had the voice pumped up too sometimes.
Yeah,
like
that was
other spots where it was just like the voice coming in a little too clear. So
all right, we could have a
I think it was just a
PhD analysis on this trailer, but we got a bunch more games to get to too. Safe to say that we have a lot there of opinions on Kingdom Hearts. I'm sure we'll actually touch on them later in the week as well too. But I'm making
there's still a
Square
decision. Conference,
right? Yeah, so let's save some of those opinions for that too. Okay, so moving along, we had Sea of Thieves. I know Bonesaw, yes, you're excited to talk about this one.
Yes.
Looks like we got some promises for more content this year. What do you think?
Oh man, Cursed Sails, Forsaken Shores, man, I am ready to dive right into that. I cannot wait for Bolshar to get drunk on the ship and kill me again. It is going to be great. Skeleton Ships, I saw that. I really hope that it would be really cool to have like a new mob, like a sea mob with ships and skeletons on those ships firing at you. I think that would be a really, really cool addition, something to happen on the seas. Because I mean, it's a massive game, and sometimes you run into people like on the ocean and you just start a battle with them. But to have like an actual enemy that's on the sea that you can kill for, I don't know, treasure or skulls or something like that, that seems really cool. The fact that they might have new environments and stuff, because I saw the volcano like in the first part when they were looking into the crystal ball and stuff like that. There might be some new islands that are going to be coming our way. That is so exciting. I cannot wait. Can
you give me a perspective on this? Like, how desperately does Sea of Thieves need this content? Like, is it like I'm done with things to do at this point, and I need this content now, or what's like the scene like right now?
Well, they keep pumping out new things. Generally, what they've been doing so far is they've had like some events that have happened. So the most recent event that they've had is the one with the Megalodon. You could see it in some of the footage that they had of Sea of Thieves. It's like the huge shark biting the ship. That's pretty much what they've had. So they're coming out with these events that I think will happen monthly. I'm not really sure. You'd have to like talk to someone like Astrius about that, because he's way more into it than I am, but I'm pretty into it with him. There's like 3 different things you can do. You can look for treasure or skulls or do merchant things, but it's all basically the same. Nothing has really changed, but I think Rare understands that like they need new things to keep everybody engaged in this game. So I think that's what they're doing now, is now that they've promised like new events and stuff like that, but those are all kind of just one-time things that you can do with friends that take up a little bit of your time. But now that they're adding new islands, they're adding new things to do and new mobs and stuff like that. So I think the game does need, especially at this point, a constant level of attention and some new things to just help keep that fan base and keep it growing, So I definitely think it does need it at this point.
So we've got these 2 expansions announced here. It sounds like they're coming out both this year. So how did they actually go into detail about how much content we can expect on these? I didn't actually see if they'd mentioned that.
They didn't really mention anything about that at E3, but they do have like on their website everything. They have like kind of the plan for the year about what they're going to release. So Cursed Sails and Forsaken Shores, I believe, was on that, but they didn't like give any detail. They didn't show anything about it. This is the first time they've actually like shown what is going to be within Curse Sales and on Forsaken Shores. So I think it looks great. The premise of having like new mobs and stuff and new places to go, I think it's definitely what the game needs for sure.
Sounds good. J-Hubs, do you have any thoughts on Sea of Thieves, or do you want us to move on?
I haven't played it or really seen it before, so I looked at it and I was just like wondering why did this voice actor just go from like talking normally to completely like off the walls ham, like when it comes as soon as looking into the orb and stuff, it was a little too jarring, and then it was like, oh, it was played off for the joke, and so that was really all I took from it. I was like, yeah, the joke played off well enough, so hopefully for Sea of Thieves fans, that gives them excitement about, you know, DLC or events or whatever. So yeah, I just haven't really looked at the game much.
Sounds good. I think we can move on that. Their Bonesaw gave us a pretty thorough look. We saw Battlefield 5 again. I mean, we don't really need to talk about that, I don't think, just because we
didn't really see anything new. Yeah.
Yep. And then we spent a lot of time on Forza Horizon 4.
Exclusive world premiere. Dude.
Oh, hold on.
It was the combo.
Exclusive world premiere.
Yeah, there we go.
Got to get the combo in. It's both. But yeah, so a lot of emphasis on the various vehicles that you can drive. We had this was weird. I didn't understand the point of this, but they had, you know, like the 8-player setup going on the stage, and they would zoom over and they're like, let's talk about what car Jim's driving. Jim's driving the McLaren. Now let's go over to Beth, and Beth's driving the Ford Focus.
I mean, that's Forza. That's Forza, though, right? Like, that's people who play Forza games generally want like as super accurate to the cars as they
Wasn't
can
that
get.
like the main focus of the very first part of that reveal was to show, okay, you can have the classic Forza racing cars, you can have the old school cars, you can have whatever you want. So I guess they were just
I completely get it. Like the appeal of it is the different vehicles that you can drive. I just thought that the way they did it, where it's like, let's go to this person who's driving this car.
That was weird.
And now let's go over here.
Yeah, like they were definitely setting up for like we're going to do live gameplay. And then they had a gameplay section that might have been live. Like it didn't really feel live. This was also the first longer segment.
They spent a lot of time on this game, and they really emphasized the seasonal shift and how that affects the terrain. My favorite part, actually, do you want to say something quick on the weather there, Bonesaw? Or?
On the weather?
I don't know. I was just going to move on and talk about the next piece I found interesting. But
well, like J-Hubs was saying before, I don't know why the weather is such a big deal with all these games all of a sudden. But I mean, weather's cool, I guess. I thought that the shared open world was really cool.
Yeah.
But I found that the weirdest thing was the chat thing, where like the cars were stopping like next to each other and they were like having a chat. And it's
really?
like, okay, now
you don't do that in Canada? We do that down here.
You just like stop in the middle of the road. It's like, hey, Bob, you want to go for a drive? Yeah, man, sure. And then you just both peel off through some farmer's fields and hit a couple of goats on your way or something.
You don't do that? I mean,
no.
J-Hubs, we do that all the time.
Yeah, you've never driven through the fields of Idaho and just
over a neighbor's livestock, man? Yeah. No better way.
I really liked the phrase that he used to he said something about like you can use the D-pad for quick friendship. Like just like that, Becky's obtained a friend.
Oh my god.
There were two things though about the Forza thing that I really liked. One was that I actually did like the weather stuff that they talked about.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Because for a racing game, you can do a lot with weather. I actually wish they had gone more over the top with it and like had gone a lot bigger with it, because they were showing like hey look, rain's on your windshield and that kind of affects your view, but they didn't really do that, right? Like your main center portion was still pretty clear and the water droplets were all small. I would have loved to see a game. A racing game that has weather aspects, and they really do affect you. Like the water is so big that you got to make sure you've got your windshield wipers on, and they're loud and annoying and shit. And like it's actually be a problem, or you're going to have like wet terrain. You know, if you get off the road and you go into the dirt, you're going to slide a lot worse and stuff. Like
I saw that there was a little bit of that going on.
Like they did like a little, yeah.
Yeah, they had some wet terrain. They had the guy saying, well, you can like slide across the ice on the lake to get to places where you haven't been before. I thought that was kind of cool. But then at the same time, I was like, haven't you guys ever played like Sonic R, you know?
So we also...
That was one thing I liked.
Yeah. We also saw them demo this, I guess, Forzathon Live, these sort of like pop-up events that happen. It just instantly compelled all 8 of them to stop what they were doing and try to achieve this goal.
Look neat. I mean, like massively multiplayer racing is a concept that hasn't been done a lot. I think it has been done before, but not a lot. And it's kind of a really neat genre for it, I think, because everyone's already got their fast mode of transportation. Like a massively multiplayer games generally have a lot of like wide expanses you need to cover. Otherwise, everyone's going to be in the same spot and it's going to be a crowded mess. And so, like doing that with racing games is really neat, I think. Because
actually,
get from point A to point B pretty quickly.
Didn't they get into? They just got into that part where everybody was in the like that massive world playing together or whatever. And I thought for sure that she was going to run into the very first car that was coming down the road because that one guy was just speeding down the road and she's going straight for him. And then just at the last second, goes right off. And I was like, damn, I was just waiting for somebody to just beef it.
It was moments like that made me think like maybe they're just sitting there watching, you know, like maybe they're not actually playing. They're just like acting on the stage. But in any case, yeah, they did dive pretty far into that. And then the October 2nd release date was given for that, as well as Xbox Game Pass seems to be kind of a focus for them as well.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I will say there is one other really big thing that happened during the Forza Horizon 4 thing that they didn't talk about at all that I thought was so cool that they showed it, and kind of cool that they didn't talk about it, although I wish it got its own segment, which was the adaptive controller. Have you guys
I saw that. Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was what they were going for or not. We got like a sneak peek of one of the players using that.
Yeah, so they had a pretty big reveal about the Xbox Adaptive Controller. For anybody who doesn't know what it is, it's effectively an accessibility controller that has a bunch of different like accessories, I guess, to make it easier for people who need accessibility options to play games, which is awesome. And every goddamn console manufacturer should start doing that because that is super cool. Really great to just see a lot more inclusivity, whatever, in gaming. Like that is awesome. And that's why I'm kind of 50-50 on whether I like that they didn't talk a lot about it or rather that they didn't talk a lot about it, because on the one hand, it's really neat that they were just like, look, like everybody can play together. Right. And like, we're not doing this as a big, like, this is going to be our big PR thing that wins us E3, right? They're like, no, just this is a thing we feel like we should have been doing for a long time, and we're finally doing it. And we play test this on everything. Like we're doing it right now live. And so I really like that. And on the other hand, I kind of wish that they had talked more about it, because I think it's a cool program. But I think it's really nice that they didn't use it as a PR stunt. They just had somebody playing with it.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see here. So then we get Phil back on the stage, and he's talking about all their acquisitions and how Microsoft is slowly absorbing the world.
Five new
studios, or new teams rather. The Initiative, which we didn't really hear much about, but the name got a round of applause. If you call something the Initiative, it's usually applause worthy. And then we had Undead Labs get acquired, Playground Games, Ninja Theory, and Compulsion Games. So I don't know, is there anything here that you guys want to talk about other than Microsoft slowly acquiring the world?
I don't think I'd ever heard of any of these, except like maybe just out in like the ether somewhere I'd heard a whispering of Playground Games and or Ninja Theory. Like those just sounded very vaguely like I had heard them before. But other than that, I couldn't associate a game to any of them. But the crowd was freaking out, and that was what was like. If it was genuine, that's cool. If it was planted, then that's weird. But I'm hoping that it's a bunch of studios that people like.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about, I believe, Playground Games, the people behind Forza Horizon, and then Ninja Theory. I think, if I'm not mistaken here, I might be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure they were the ones that did Hellblade.
I think they said
Hellblade.
Hellblade. Yeah, I think they said Hellblade in some other game. So
yeah,
but I've never heard of Hellblade, so that's why I'd never heard of them. So.
Yeah, so we see these 5 acquisitions, and then they show another trailer for We Happy Few on August 10th of this year. And I don't know, do you guys have any takes on We Happy Few?
Looks crazy.
Yeah, I like
just crazy.
So the whole like, if you're always happy, then what's happy is like a really classic concept. Like it's been explored in books a ton, but I feel like it hasn't been explored in games a ton, like all that often. So I was really glad that they set that up and then dove in the trailer about like, hey, look, this is what can be wrong with this, and this is what can be good about this and stuff. And then they hinted like the right amount of like, hey, our game's going to explore this and it's going to be cool. So it did look really, really nuts.
All right, then we get the PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds update, which everybody wanted. Do people play this on console? Do they actually play PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds on exclusively on Xbox?
Do people
exclusive?
Oh God.
Do people play it since Fortnite came out? Like,
yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm past that phase. I don't know if maybe not everybody is, but we get this announcement here. I wasn't particularly excited about it. It was like exclusive new war mode. Then there was maybe some suggestion of like a snow level in the winter.
Some maps.
Yeah,
I
some
like
new environments.
They like teased the snow really hard at the end, but the snow looked like complete garbage. So I thought that was really funny. Like that they were very much trying to be like, oh, look, we're going to have a snow map, but not reveal a lot about it. But they showed enough of a reflection to be like, oh, so it's PS2 era graphics for your snow. And I really loved that the crowd did not give a shit.
They weren't that into it.
They were silent. Yeah. It was so good. That was what made me immediately go like, oh, they didn't really plant those people because they did not care about PUBG.
No reaction there. And what a connection here. Now tell me if you're directing the show, how you connect PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition.
I don't think you can, man.
Yeah,
well, they did.
You can't do it.
They did.
They
quality
were
bar
probably,
and gameplay was raised yet again this year.
they were
Not the
probably
quality
going,
bar.
we're either going to get it. We're going to have to, ride the high from PUBG and like nobody will care about Tales. And then it was the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Personally, I didn't care about
So
Tales.
we knew that this game was coming. I think that it had been announced a while ago. So we saw, not a surprise to see Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition. I don't know what the crowd reaction was to it. I don't feel like they were that invested, but I know that a lot of Tales fans are craving this.
For me, it was just so much of the trailer was an anime trailer, and I'm not a big fan of anime, but if you are, that's fine, whatever. But like, I would want to see gameplay rather than just anime cutscene. If it's supposed to be changes for that, I don't know. Maybe this definitive edition or whatever is just changes in story more than it is in gameplay. But it just, to me, it was like it was just not enough gameplay for a series that is already a hard sell for me, just personally.
Yeah, they did go through and show a lot of the different attacks that the characters have, but again, a lot of this is just more focused, I think, on anything that remastering it than or Xbox enhancing it or whatever they call it.
Yeah, whatever they call them.
Yeah,
it didn't even explain what was really different about it or anything. So
yeah, nonetheless, I think that the bigger point there was just the fact that it's coming to Xbox. That's one of the tricky parts about the way that they do this conference too, is that by throwing in these buzzwords, like world premiere and exclusive, it's tough to keep track of what's actually only available on the Xbox.
World premiere.
And nowadays, exclusive to Microsoft, starting with like last E3, exclusive meant PC and Xbox. Like it meant, it'll work on Windows and Xbox, and that they seem to still go with that this year. It's just kind of funny.
All right, let's move along. We got a lot more games to get through here. Try and do it as quickly as we can. So we also had a pretty extended look at The Division 2, which I thought this trailer was really interesting, just the way that graphically it had appeared and sort of started posing questions to you. I think
fuck that trailer.
You don't like that trailer? You're not a fan?
No, I didn't like it. No, fuck that trailer.
What specifically didn't you like? Because
guess what? It was the fake online gamer group again.
Oh
man.
my god,
they had it again.
Even before that, though, like, because yes, oh god, yes. But before that, like, for me, I'm cool with exploring like concepts in your games, like relevant current events kind of topics and stuff, especially when it's Tom Clancy. You know, that's all his books and shit. That's all his games. I'm cool with that, but your 15-second trailer shouldn't just be like a buzzwords of like, what's the most relevant words in the headlines of today, right? And we're not going to explore any of that. We're just going to hint that it explores in the game, and that just pissed me off.
So
honestly.
we got two parts to this story here, because we had the trailer at first, but then we went in and did like an actual mission. And so I'm talking specifically about the trailer here, but
that's what I was talking about. The trailer pissed me off for all the like, it's supposed to be the like shock value imagery and like we're going to talk about current events thing, and it was like it just did not hit me. And then when they get into the gameplay, they didn't touch on any of that.
Yeah, it was just full on destruction.
Wait,
so
hold on.
What was it about though?
Yeah, I thought when the trailer started rolling and they're talking about like, okay, all these important officials are located in this tiny space, I thought we were getting the world premiere of Designated Survivor. When's that game coming out? That's what I thought at first.
But like, what was it about? Was it about civil war? Was it about a virus? Like,
it was supposed to be like, look at how what I got from it was them saying, look at how horrible we are that as soon as one conflict happens, we'd all turn on each other.
Oh,
or something like that. And it was just, I mean, explore whatever topics you want to explore in your creative endeavors, but like in a 15-second trailer like that for what is basically shock value.
Yeah,
that was just bugging the crap.
All right, so you weren't having it. I don't know. For some reason, I was intrigued by the trailer, but then we get to the mission, and this gameplay. What do you guys think of the gameplay that we saw?
The Seeker Mine looked cool. That was the only thing. That was good.
He's a fan of the Seeker Mine.
That was the only thing that was good. The little Seeker Mine that like went along the ground. I thought that looked neat. Everything else was like, what? They did it again, man.
Bonesaw, what did you think of the gameplay that we saw?
They just killed my vibe with that fake online gamer group. They did it. They did it again.
Yeah, this is the first instance I think this E3 where we've really seen this sort of sketch, scripted dialogue of like, let's pretend like the four of us are online and these are the things that we say to each other, which it never is written like an actual conversation. But ignoring the like awkward conversation that was happening, specifically looking at the mission that we had there, does the gameplay intrigue you at all, or is this a pass?
The gameplay for me, I don't know. I just think it's way too on the generic side for me. The environments looked really nice. I liked the Air Force One thing. I thought that was pretty cool. The Seeker Mine also was really neat. That was about the only thing that I really noticed in terms of weapons that I thought was actually worthwhile. Mm-hmm. That was it. I'll have to give it a pass because I just think it's way too generic. It just looks like the same kind of stuff that you always get in some kind of third person next gen shooter.
Yeah.
That's about it.
The other thing that worried me is that the Division 1 was kind of like pretty racist. Like actually when you kind of dig into it, like all the enemies were generally were dark skinned people wearing hoodies. And so like that's not cool. And so I was kind of really turned off from this one from all sides. And again, actually NK brought up a good thing in chat. Like I'm actually from the DC area, so seeing them like basically like just bag on it right away was just I couldn't notice much that I liked about it.
You didn't like it because there wasn't a Stanley Cup in the opener. I understand.
Yeah, there we go. That's what should have been. They should have been They should have known. They should have been prescient, known like when they made the prescient, however you pronounce it.
All right. Well, what I want to know is how did Megan go from being a few levels behind everybody to being ready to take on the Capitol?
Yeah.
I don't understand how that must be an advanced progression system because she was definitely behind the others and she brought that up. But then they were ready to just charge guns ablazing into the Capitol and take it back. So I don't know how that works, but I guess we'll find out more details when the Division 2 comes out and we get a chance to
I won't
rip on it more.
Me neither.
Yeah. Yeah. So then we get a conversation about this fast start for the Xbox and how it's going to make games load faster, is my understanding.
Is that what it is? I didn't know if I just missed it or if they explained what fast start was. I was confused if fast start was something like
I couldn't decide either.
Pass, you get more games or something, or something completely different. Like I have no idea what they said.
Something AI algorithm fast.
We chose the games that people like because we have data on which games they play. Like, yeah, duh.
Okay, so nothing really too much there. But then they talk about the Xbox Game Pass and how a lot of the new games that are coming out, like simultaneous release with the Xbox Game Pass, which is kind of cool.
They had a flurry of games like swing by when they said that, which that's neat. Like I didn't really, nothing stood out to me out of them, but for somebody who might have been looking for them, it's cool.
Maybe Chad can help me out with this too, but like, what is the general reception to Xbox Game Pass? Are people using this?
Yeah, I don't even own an Xbox, so
me neither.
Yeah, I don't know. Subscription-based gaming, I feel like, you know, if they go ahead and add a lot of content to it, then it's going to be, you know, more widely received. But kind of this kind of emphasis that they had of games coming out now, simultaneous release, seemed to be a theme throughout. So then we see, let's see, we had Wargroove shown, which I actually was surprised by that because I didn't know Wargroove was multi-platform. So we'll see what they do with that. I thought it was Switch only. Then we go to Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Why is Lara Croft always getting beat up in these trailers?
Yeah, that one was kind of one of your like pretty standard cinematic trailers. That the one thing I did like about it is that they did show some like puzzle solving. Actually, they were still doing it from all these cinematic angles and stuff. It seemed so you couldn't really get a good grasp of like what's gameplay like, but it really seemed like it was all right. This is the next Tomb Raider, and that's cool. If you like those games, it certainly looked like it'd be pretty standard for that.
Yeah, it definitely looks really good. Visually, though, like it looks top notch.
Yeah,
like it's probably one of the most beautiful games ever.
And that's what I got from Rise of the Tomb Raider last year.
Yeah,
they showed that. So like, I mean, it was nice to see it continue to look really good.
That's actually where the quality bar line is like extremely relevant, actually. But
quality bar and gameplay was raised yet again this year.
Yeah,
but I think it's one of those.
You're digging
plots.
for the sound effects, and I'm giving it to you. There you go.
It's one of those plots. Like, and this is what I got from the little bit of story that they were talking about in the trailer, was that it's like if the main character just didn't exist, then none of these bad things would be happening right now.
Yeah,
like it's kind of like Indiana Jones, man. You don't even need Indiana Jones in one of the movies because it would have just worked right out perfectly, you know. So I don't know, but all the traps and all the like concepts and stuff, like all the puzzles and everything, that all looked really cool,
right?
Actually,
I will say this is one of those revivals of a series where I feel like they've really taken it into the next level and to the extreme. It definitely feels like an action-packed series, and just watching the trailer, you get the sense of panic. You know, when she's underwater and struggling to break open the door. It seemed pretty intense. So I liked what I saw out of it.
Yeah.
I find it funny that you like tuned into the story, Bones. So, like anytime one of those like cinematic trailers starts showing up, my mind just goes blank. Like until it's done with it, until I see some gameplay or something. I'm like, whatever story you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know why I latched onto that, but it was just like, what have you done, Lara? And I'm just like, well, maybe if she just didn't exist, then none of these bad things would be happening right now. Like, why did she have to go and do it? Righting the wrongs, man. Righting her own wrongs. That's basically what the game is about.
All right, so that comes out in September. Then we also got Not Skate 4.
I know. That's what
Yeah, I
gonna
was
say.
I was like,
Skate 4,
damn,
dude.
Twitch chat finally got Skate 4.
All day yesterday, the denizens of Twitch.tv demanded Skate 4 and didn't get it.
Yep.
And then they didn't get it here either.
Yeah.
Is this like the the reach out or like the offering to them, like, hey, okay, it's not Skate 4 in name, but it's basically what you're looking for.
Success, bro.
See, like, I didn't even know skateboarding games were still relevant after like Tony Hawk Wasteland or something.
That's
like
what I thought.
that was like the last skateboard.
People have been crying for Skate 4 for a long time now.
Yeah, but like I guess I never got turned on to it, so I just never played that series. But it was, I mean, I thought the exact same thing. I saw it and I was like, okay, they got their Skate 4 but didn't.
Right.
And they didn't. That was really like all they showed to it too, right? Like they just played a song and showed a little thing and said session and then moved on.
Yeah, that's pretty much all it was. I mean, I was actually laughing though when I saw the guy fall off of the skateboard and he was like on the ground and he's like rubbing his elbows and stuff like that. And it's like the YouTube quality shakiness camera like going off. And I was like, is this just like a Fail Army clip or something like that? Like skateboarder just like beefs it real hard and it's just in a video game.
Yeah, I don't know. Will there be emphasis on the camera work this time around in session? Are you going to have to like, take control of the camera and make sure you get the perfect shot?
Yeah,
Pokemon
is
Snap
that what this is now? Like all these game trailers just have, okay, it's the YouTube quality video camera of a skateboarder falling, and then there's the Instagram live of the actual pro basketball player in the backyard court going at it.
All right, so we don't have a lot of information about that game just yet, but enough to tease the fans of skateboarding and hold them over. Then we had the console launch of Black Desert. I don't know that we have a lot to talk about there. It's just being moved over to Xbox.
Yeah, they didn't really show, for an MMORPG, they didn't really show much MMORPG stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
I mean, this is a game that's been around for a while now.
Is it?
Moving
Okay.
Moving to Xbox.
I wasn't familiar.
Yep.
But it looked really good.
Yeah, it did.
Visually, it looked pretty damn nice for an MMORPG.
Mm-hmm. And then we got the world premiere of Devil May Cry 5.
Jesus.
Dude, I was hyped for this shit. Like, I've never played a Devil May Cry game, but I really actually enjoyed that trailer, with the one exception of that like weird expository part, like where she's just sitting there talking to the guy and being like, he's good at beating up demons, so I made him a cool arm. It's like, okay, why do you need exposition in your trailer?
Yeah, I didn't like that.
We can gather that there's an arm. Everything else about that trailer I actually really liked, though, and it made me like retroactively wish I had played the DMC games. I'll probably pick one up at some point now, because the combat looked cool and stuff from the little bits of gameplay.
I actually appreciated that we took a break from like the trailer overload to have a stage presence during Devil May Cry 5's announcement too.
That was
and
cool.
to kind of acknowledge like, hey, look, this is the sequel you guys have been asking for. And I don't know, I just kind of appreciated that break.
And the two were very charismatic. The two that they had come out, despite the fact that the one American guy, or I don't know whether he's American, Canadian or whatever, but he looked like he had been up all night.
He had the most intense stare going on. Holy moly!
Like you could tell, it's like, oh god, okay, I'm jet lagged to shit and stuff. But
when they have Japanese devs there, I love that. When they have the actual devs from overseas come in and talk about their games, I think that's amazing.
Yeah,
I enjoy E3. Like that's cool.
I think it's safe to say that was the best crowd reaction throughout the most of the conference anyway. It felt like they were very, very interactive.
Yeah, they were into that for sure, I think.
Yeah, I was into that one. I've never played the games, so like that was...
I think it's great that Dante is back. I love that they had that little final touch right at the end of that trailer. That was really, really cool.
Yeah, so I think a lot of excitement there. Devil May Cry 5 sometime in 2019. Then we had a Cuphead expansion announcement.
Yeah, dude. Yes. That was sick. There were so many good things in a row here.
Right.
Yeah, there were.
So apparently we're going to get a new character, Miss Chalice, and then a bunch of new levels as well.
Like, who expected Cuphead content this soon?
I did not.
I didn't at all. I mean, granted, it still said 2019, I think, but like I didn't expect even an announcement of Cuphead DLC maybe ever, let alone this soon. I thought maybe because that was such a hard project for them to make, right? Didn't it take them like 7 years or something just to even get that thing going?
Yeah.
And really cool that right off the bat they're like, hey, people loved it, we're going to keep working on it.
The only thing that I could think of was that maybe they had some things that maybe they had wanted to implement
that they didn't get finished.
Yeah, they maybe didn't get the chance to. So that's probably what they're going to put in there.
And then we saw an exclusive. Hold on.
Oh God.
Hold the phones.
Exclusive.
We got the exclusive look at Tunic, also known as Legend of Fox McCloud.
Dude, Fox Link, man. That's what we had right there.
Definitely.
I really like the art style of this game.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic.
Yeah, very voxely, which like I feel was a huge like just flavor of the month thing a few years ago, but I think it's kind of been long enough now where it's okay to bring it back. And it just looked neat. You know, they didn't show like a lot, but you still felt like you got a pretty good understanding that it's going to be a fun little cute adventure game.
Yeah, I think it's definitely something that could I mean, we didn't see very much of it, but it kind of looks like it would be something that would kind of hark back to the old days of gaming for sure. Like I feel like it definitely looks like a game that would have so many references to old games for sure.
I liked it. Looked neat.
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of the one game I can't remember right now from the EA conference yesterday. Unravel 2. Like it reminded me of just the like hidden gem game.
Yeah, I think so. I see what you're getting at. Yeah, it's not a game that maybe was on anybody's radar, but then
that or Sea of Solitude, whichever one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yesterday. Yeah.
Okay, so then we get into a segment here at the very end after you've already been bombarded with an hour of content. Phil comes back out on the stage and he says, "All right, everything from this point forward, it's $1 billion money makers."
Well, and
okay, he doesn't say that, but
he said Mixer, didn't he?
He said Mixer. Like, I'm
so
glad to see these guys. So the very beginning of the conference when he said, we got everybody here in this awesome arena, and then we've got everybody watching at home on Mixer, and it was
watching and interacting on Mixer.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, okay, 95% of the people watching are watching on Twitch and YouTube. You can't even just say their names. Like, you have to pretend like they don't exist. Like, just say all three, man. Nobody's going to care if you Mixer and that. And then he goes and says, really cool to see this new studio, this one developer making Tunic, and he gets to show his game on the big stage here in front of 20 million viewers on Mixer. It's like, come on. Mixer isn't a 20 million.
And interacting on Mixer.
They've got 20 million views in the entirety of them existing, and I'm somebody who actually has used that channel a lot for like tournaments and stuff where we need low delay. So like it's a fine enough site, but come on, be realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Mixer illusion, I feel like nobody is falling for that.
Mm-hmm.
No.
It's better than last year. Last year they were like, plugging people's Mixer channels and everything, and at least they didn't do that this time.
What would be in your mix pot, by the way?
What?
You don't know about the mix pot?
No.
If you watch on Mixer, you can get content in your mix pot.
Yeah, see, that's where you lost me. Watch on Mixer. I don't know if I've streamed commentary feeds on Mixer.
Is like a mix pot equal to or better than or worse than a fanny pack filled with goodies?
Spoiler, but it's a fanny pack full of awesome goodies.
Oh God.
And we had fanny packs and mix pots at this season.
Then after that, we got anime.
Yeah. Let's talk about this here. Getting back on track, we had Jump Force announced, which is every anime.
Is that what it was called? I literally wrote down
Force.
Anime.
Yes. So as if we didn't have enough crossover anime games this year, we have Jump Force, and this trailer, I think the excitement was there. It was there. People are pretty pumped for this one.
I think so too.
As we I love that. I cut to J Hobbs and he's just like,
I know, I'm not a fan of anime and I'm not a fan of fighting games. So anime fighting game surprisingly didn't interest me very much. all I knew is that the people I was like talking to during the conference all were going, what's Death Note going to do writing in his book or something? I don't know. So I don't know what that means, but that's what they all said.
Bonesaw, what did you think of the Jump Force trailer?
I really don't know what to expect, honestly. But I mean, on some level I do, because it's just anime in real life. I don't know. It's just it's like Smash, but with anime, I guess. And all the environments take place in like New York City and stuff like that. I really don't know.
I really
It's
like
weird.
these crossover games. I don't know, like BB Tag's kind of the same way for me. It's like, let's take these universes that don't have any business interacting with each other and let's just throw a bunch of characters into it. So
I
I
think
like
it's
how
of
that's
interest.
literally what they said, right?
Yeah.
Like, wasn't the whole voice line basically saying like all these universes aren't connected, but we did?
yeah, I don't know. From what I saw of the trailer, it looks exciting. We'll see kind of what direction they take it. And I don't know if we get a release date on this. We got, let's see. I don't know. In my notes, I don't have a release date for it, so I don't know if we got a date on that one or not. In any case, that was the kickoff game of the multiple world premieres here in a row. We had the world premiere
World premiere.
world premiere of Dying Light 2. Showcased here, and look out, David Cage, your choices have consequences in Dying Light 2 as well.
That was the big thing, wasn't it? That was like their selling point. Your choices now have actual consequences on the world.
It did look though like it was probably more of like an Infamous style. Like it looked like Mirror's Edge Infamous to me.
Yeah,
So
pretty much.
Like because I've never heard of Dying Light, or I've never like seen it, at least the original. So like I had nothing going in, and for a while it was just kind of a little cinematic trailer or whatever, or it didn't have a lot going on. And then it finally got into some more gameplay when the guy walked out on stage to talk about it.
Yep.
And I liked that segment a lot. Like there was some really neat platforming that again was reminding me a lot of Mirror's Edge. Getting to kind of parkour around and stuff, and that it looked pretty seamless. It didn't look like QTEs and stuff like that. And then on top of that, seeing how drastically different some of the alliance could be, or legions, however you normally call it, but a bar that basically says whether you're doing the good thing or the bad thing.
Yeah.
I thought that, I don't know, looked cool.
Which,
it looked like a neat game.
which choice would you make here? Are you going to restore the water supply, or are you going to sell it on the black market, Bonesaw?
Sell it on the black market.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, J Hobbs, what about you?
I'm kicking the guy off the roof. I don't care. That looked awesome. Who gives a crap about the water supply, man?
There we go. Yeah, so I'm curious to see to what extent your choices actually do. Every time they say choices have consequences, I want to know, okay, but how many beyond like the 5 or 6 obvious ones you included in the game?
This
Well,
seems
it
to be
looked-
the big thing, right?
That's why it reminded me of Infamous. It looked more like it'll build on itself kind of thing, where for anyone who's not that familiar with Infamous, it kind of follows some of the like really old Star Wars games where like the more, well, actually David Cage's stuff kind of follows that.
Yeah.
But where like it's the more kind of corrupted you get, then things start changing. Like certain enemies will be more aggressive, certain enemies will be less aggressive, stuff like that. And it seemed like they were hinting at that more than just like you get to pick a couple pieces of dialogue that'll change how this cutscene plays out. Right.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, let's see here. We got a couple more games to talk about, and then we'll give the report card. We had the exclusive world premiere of Battletoads.
Hell yeah,
That was
dude.
cool.
3-player
I can't wait
Battletoads.
for that.
That was so out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. It kind of felt like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, world premiere, man. It's out of nowhere. The big thing for me,
World premiere.
I thought the meta jokes were good. Thought that was funny. And I saw 3-person couch co-op, which means no online. And I was like, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
But
I appreciated that they said like no promises that we're gonna
the
do
meta
anything.
joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. The like a very vague promise of what
Of what's to
mechanics
come,
might be in
yeah.
it or something. Yeah. I thought that was cool. They were just basically saying, hey, look, there's a Battletoads game, and we'll find out more about it eventually.
All right. So then we had let's see, after that, Just Cause 4, the world premiere. World premiere. World premiere.
World premiere.
There we go. It's being ingrained into my brain. I didn't have a lot of takeaways from this trailer. Do you guys have anything you wanted to say about Just Cause 4?
Looks great.
I literally wrote down
Yeah, it looks good graphically. It looks absolutely ridiculous. Feels like it's a game where you could just sink a whole bunch of time into it and just get nowhere because you're just you're just finding out different ways how to use a grapple or something like that.
You know why? Just cause. That's
there it is.
Oh no. No, if I
2 out of 5. 2 out of 5.
oh no.
Okay, so then okay, I think this was the most unique and risky thing that they did in the entire conference.
Oh my god.
No.
We get to the Gears segment. They show the Gears logo. The crowd is already, amped up. They're ready to go. And then we get a figurine on the screen.
Yeah.
And then another one. And then 4 more. And we get the announcement of Gears Pop.
No.
What was going through your mind when Gears Pop appeared on the screen?
Yeah. So
A bullet.
right, like I don't know about. I agree with this. I don't know about you. As somebody, I'm not very into figurines at all. But at the very least, like Funko Pop has always looked the worst to me. Like I've never understood how people like them and stuff. So that was so when that showed up, I was like, oh my god! And then all the sequence of thoughts that were going through my mind. It started with like a Funko Pop, like okay, they're announcing a figurine, whatever, and it's like oh, it might be a game. What they just pissed so many people off. Like oh my god, they must have just really pissed a huge audience off. And then they start talking about the tactics game, and it's like, why didn't they talk about that first? Before the Funko Pop, it would have, softened the blow a little bit at least, because they wouldn't have been expecting Gears 5, and then Gears 5.
Yeah. So ultimately, we get the little tease at first. We get Gears Pop, and we might think that's all we're getting, but then we get on top of that, the tactics game gets announced, and we get a brief glimpse into that world, which looked, I don't know, at least to me, it looked interesting. In the same sense of like an XCOM. I don't know. Visually, I was intrigued by it. I want to know more just from the little bit we saw. And then they did deliver on Gears 5. We get to see a sequence from that game as well. And all of a sudden, all is forgiven. All is forgiven. You gave us Gears Pop, and we'll let that pass with these other 2 games that you provided. What did you guys think from the Gears 5 trailer?
They showed a lot for a first look. Like they could have very easily just trolled everyone with the whole Funko Pop thing and then just said Gears 5 is coming. Like Gears 5 is happening basically. And it still would have gotten a huge crowd reaction, right? Like it still would have trolled the crap out of everybody. But instead they do what looks like it's going to be a fully cinematic trailer first. And then ends up, which I'm sure I've never played the Gears of War games, so I'm sure it had some fan service stuff into it. Like there were, I'm sure, reactions to certain faces that showed up and stuff like that. But I was like, okay, whatever, cinematic trailer. And then on top of that, then they dove into a bunch of gameplay after that. And it's like for a first look at just announcement that this thing exists, they showed a lot. Like that was actually really cool. And it looked pretty legit. It was kind of similar to the Devil May Cry thing for me, where I was like, I wish I'd played a Gears of War game now, because that looked pretty neat.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys are into Gears of War at all or not, but for me, it was like seeing the first game all over again. I don't know, like it just felt like they'd reimagined everything and taken it to another level, especially in some of those kind of frantic sequences we see at the end where, it's sort of feeling claustrophobic. And I loved it. I think visually it's everything people want in a Gears game, just based on what we've seen. So I think it's enough to satisfy the fans until more detail is needed. Overall, I thought this Gears segment, it started off weird and then it corrected itself. And I think they were able to do that because they knew they had the other stuff prepared as well.
Now I love it. Now I love that they did that. Like it's so funny that was such a risky, awesome thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see what the reception to Gears Pop will be when it actually pops up.
Okay. They said it's a mobile game immediately out of the mind. Like at least they didn't try to shoutcast it,
Yeah.
Oh my god, the mobile games.
Yeah. So, all right. So then we have kind of to wrap up a bunch of kind of vague promises. I don't know. This was weird. Phil comes back onto the stage and he talks about like Microsoft AI is hard at learning, hard at work learning all this stuff about you, and we're going to put this into the games, and then they're going to be more adaptive.
Everything plays best on Xbox. Like,
Yeah,
sure.
and then we get the little tease, and who knows? Like, this could be true, it could be not true. But he says something about they're already hard at work on the next Xbox.
Yep.
Eh.
Another promise.
Yeah, and nobody's that excited here. I'm not that excited.
I didn't even hear that line, honestly. The bigger thing to me that they started talking about was the cloud gaming thing, which for me, as somebody like as a developer and stuff, I look at that and I'm like, okay, well, we've been seeing cloud gaming coming for like 10 years. Like everyone has who kind of looks a bit more into the back end of things knows that eventually we're going to have ways of doing as much as we can on the server side, like on the cloud, so that way you can play games on crappy computers, basically. So you can just play it on any device and it would play more or less the same. Now, I don't believe for a second what they said they already have, which is like, oh, we're doing cloud gaming so that you'll get the exact same quality of play on every device.
Console quality on your phone.
Console quality.
We're not there yet. Like, because so much of that has to do with like internet too, right? And the internet infrastructure in America is just not there, unless you're in like a really populated city or something. So I don't see that happening. I think that they basically, that was their big, like, we had to promise something that we're not going to be able to deliver on moment of the conference. But again, it's nice to see that they did kind of commit that they're making some progress on it.
Okay, and then to end it all, Phil Spencer signs off, and everything just happens peacefully, and people exit the building.
Yep,
that
was the end.
That was the end.
Everybody remembers that. It just cut to credits.
Right. No, we get this weird. I actually kind of liked this. That okay, if we're gonna end it with like one more trailer, let's do it in a really funky, like unexpected way. I don't know. I didn't expect Phil Spencer to be like hacked live.
You know what's really funny about that is so this is going to sound unrelated, but I swear it is. The Ori and the Blind Forest tournament that happened on Speed Gaming wrapped up a few months ago, like 2 or 3 months ago. And we did that same thing for our finals match. We had a little outro, and we had been playing an outro for over like every time. And then we had like the outro started playing, and then it like warped and then like cut to a broadcast error screen, and then like we showed a new task of the game that had been revealed. And so when that happened, we were all just spamming like, they stole our idea, they stole it. But for Cyberpunk 2077, I'm glad that they kind of went over the top and they were like, oh, change to the hacks directory, and like
it was very, I don't know, just authentic sequence. I think, I don't know, I was able to recognize a lot of what was going on there.
It seemed like they wanted to like be like, hey, look at, we're gonna be poking fun at ourselves here. We're gonna be over the top ridiculous and CD do a hacks folder and say running backdoor executable, like rather than trying to fake some hacking thing. They were like, no, we're just gonna make it ridiculous.
What did you guys think of this trailer that we got?
I think it looks pretty crazy, actually.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. There was so much to process. The trailer moved at such an insane pace. There was so much going on. Saw a lot of environments, both really pristine and really gritty. And, like, people killing each other. Other people, like, just dying. There was a lot of stuff going on.
Did they show any gameplay, though?
I don't think they did.
No, I don't think they did.
No, it was just like the environments and basically like what's going on in this sort of society, I guess. I don't know. There was like a lot of artificial stuff going on.
There was a lot of, they were playing up this element of like, there's a lot of problems in this city, but nobody wants to leave it. So there's like this irony of, okay, we probably should get out of here, but we just refuse to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It looked neat enough, but whenever we get something that is a cinematic trailer and has no gameplay, then I just assume that they're not very far along.
Yeah, we need a little bit more on the gameplay side. I would need personally a lot more on the gameplay side to actually judge whether or not I would be interested in it. Cinematically, it looks great.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, we saw like a decent looking cinematic trailer for Command and Conquer Rivals. Like,
Yeah.
you just can't tell anymore with cinematic.
Oh my god, the mobile games.
You just can't tell anymore what kind of game it's going to be.
Yeah. Were you satisfied with this finale of like how they jumped in and gave one more trailer? Was this a good ending in your mind?
I liked it.
I liked it, but I thought for sure they were going to go to Halo with it. Like, I thought their Halo tease at the very beginning was going to come full circle, and now they were going to show a more full trailer. So I'm not like, I don't really care that much about Halo, but if I were a Halo fan, that would have probably disappointed me a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I thought it was fine. It was a neat way to end the conference.
Okay, so let's go ahead and wrap up here and give a report card here. So I want to know, like, did you have expectations going in? Were they met? And then give me a letter grade on the Microsoft conference. So let's have Jay Hobbs go first.
Expectations going in, I just wanted to see more from Ori 2. We actually had a little like teasing of advanced knowledge that there might be something in Ori about Ori 2 here. So got what I expected there. Got even way better. Like that trailer was fantastic. It gave me pretty much everything I wanted to see out of a second trailer for Ori 2. So that was neat. And a lot of awesome surprises in there. A lot of games I would have never thought about caring about that I had reason to care about, which was cool. Devil May Cry, especially, in Gears 5 also, as well as the little surprise or the little hidden gem of Tunic and a few other things. So overall, I loved it. I'm thinking A.
Guess
like
solid A.
Yeah, right now, I mean, like, and it might be a scale, maybe Sony will blow my mind and suddenly this becomes a B retroactively. But like
in the
right
moment,
now,
in the moment, you're giving it an A.
Yeah, Microsoft did a great job with that trailer, or with that conference. They weren't cringy, and they said exclusive and world premiere too many times. But other than that, they were pretty good about it. Pretty good about everything else.
Exclusive.
All right, Bonesaw, what are you thinking here?
Well, my expectations going into it, with Xbox, with like Microsoft stuff, I don't know. I try not to have any expectations because I always think, well, I don't have an Xbox. I don't want to buy an Xbox. So anything that they're going to give me, I'm going to be like, oh, I really want that game, but I don't want to go out and buy an Xbox for it. But
exclusive.
Yeah, exactly.
Think of the exclusives.
Too many exclusives, man. But I pretty much got what I wanted out of it. I always kind of go in with kind of little expectations. I have a few, only because like I have a pretty good PC now, so I know that if something's going to come out on PC that I kind of want to get, now I can play it finally. So pretty much all of my expectations were sort of met. I saw a little bit more of Fallout 76. I knew that they were going to have more on Sea of Thieves, which is what I wanted to see. So that was really cool. So honestly, yeah, I got pretty much what I wanted out of it. I would give that conference a solid B+, actually.
B+ from Bonesaw. There we go. Yeah, I think I'm kind of with you guys on this. I mean, obviously comparing it to EA yesterday, this is a lot more focused, on point, giving the gamers what they want to see. We had trailers from a variety of different genres. We had stuff that's coming up a couple months from now.
EA gets a D now, by the way.
You're downgrading them?
Yeah.
From a C to a D.
Yeah, I think retroactively, I'm regretting my B-. I think I might have been generous to EA. But in any case, I think that Microsoft, especially in recent years, has done a good job of giving us what we actually want to see in a conference, and they're showing gameplay, and they're keeping the stage gimmicks short. It's okay, like if the person's coming out on stage to say something, they're not there for 5 or 10 minutes. they're just there to maybe give you a break between the trailers. So I don't know. Overall, I think I was pretty satisfied with this. A couple of games that were teased, maybe I wanted a little bit more information on, but just having acknowledgement was good. I would say for my ranking, I'm going to give it an A-. I think it satisfies me with the quantity of games that we saw. And maybe nothing that completely blew me away, but some of those surprises, and kind of emphasis on things like Devil May Cry 5 was good. Battletoads coming out of nowhere was a good surprise in the middle there. And then some of their games that we expected to see, I felt like they delivered on those as well. So I would say A- for Microsoft. But with that, I believe that's going to wrap up the conference recap here. Any last thoughts that you guys wanted to say?
Shout outs to all 20 million of you watching on Mixer.
Watching and interacting on Mixer.
Yeah,
That's right.
all of you.
That's right. If you're watching this recap on Mixer, bad news for you. It's not the original location.
How? Yeah, how'd you get it over there?
Who was restreaming me on Mixer? That's what I want to know. Bonesaw, anything you want to say?
Funko Pop figures suck, and nobody talks like that with their friends when they're playing a video game.
Yeah.
Nobody
Thank
talks
you.
like that. That's right. Megan, if you've got level up advice, I don't know how you went from being 20 levels
That killed
behind.
me, man. That killed me.
I don't know how you went from 20 levels behind to rushing the Capitol, but I want that guide. That's a strategy guide I need to read. So there we go.
Oh my god.
All right. Well, we have a busy day. This is the first of 3 recaps, actually. So Bethesda's conference is coming up later tonight. We're going to do a recap for that. And we're also going to be recapping the Devolver, whatever you want to call it, showcase, conference, brainwashing. I'm not sure.
Are those two gonna like run over each other? Like that? There's only an hour and a half between those two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're going to make the Bethesda recap a little bit shorter. I mean, this one ran on for quite some time, too. So
Yeah.
the Bethesda one will be kind of quick. The conference itself, we're expecting it to be about 45 minutes or so, based on previous years. So
Oh, did you guys see the Tiny Builds musical right before this conference started?
I
No.
did not.
It was Devolver Digital-esque content.
Interesting. Okay, I'm going to check that out when we're done here.
Yeah,
But
you'll have to watch it.
it after the Will o' the Wisps deep dive. That's
There you
gonna
go.
happen right
Yeah.
after this.
all right, so we're going to take a break and be back after the Bethesda conference tonight. So hopefully we'll see you guys for that. And if you've missed any of our other recaps or, either ones we already did or ones future, you can check them out on my YouTube page, youtube.com/goldensrl. We'll have the links for you after the broadcast. So thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you later tonight for more E3 recaps.